The premiere of Kamen Rider Gotchard has finally arrived and gave us our first introduction to this crazy Kemi story, so let's talk about it. Hello everyone, it's Thomas GGB, and before I give my thoughts on the first episode of Kamen Rider Gotchard, be sure to let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Keep in mind, I will be talking spoilers for the episode, so if you want to go in blind, Hotaro dies immediately. There's only one episode to show it's over. For context, going into this, I didn't really have any big expectations. I actually haven't been that excited for this season. The trailers and the aesthetics haven't been horrible. I don't hate anything, and coming off of Geats, which is a season I really loved. Go check out my full review if you want more thoughts. I just wasn't super invested in the upcoming season. That being said, I thought the opening scene was a pretty cool introduction to the show. The establishment of the Kemis as a bunch of CG friends that can leave the cards and go and attack people is a lot of fun. I do like the Kemis as a gimmick. The cards is a different thing I'll get into a bit later. The establishment of the villains is also awesome. Obviously, right now they don't really have any personality to them besides Lachesis thinking Fuga is hot for whatever reason. What I really like is their overall goal to acquire the Gotchard driver. I think it's intriguing because they refer to it only as the key to the door of darkness, which is super vague. So are they referring to it as a literal key to a literal door of darkness somewhere? Is it metaphorical, like it gives them the power to unleash darkness on the world because it's just the Kamen Rider belt? Either way, I can't recall the last instance, if ever, where acquiring the main rider's belt was the goal of the main villains. Another dynamic I loved, is the monster of the week, because it's just one of the generals merged with the Kemi. First of all, it's just a cool dynamic to have Gotchard be a kind, we don't kill a main villain, we've just established her as a bit of a fighter, and I feel like there's already a bit of a rivalry going on here because, but I also think the first fight is just way more interesting because it's not him fighting a random monster. I am a little disappointed about, but I think that could also get repetitive. So I do like that we've established this kind of idea, and every so often we can get one of the generals come into the field and fight against Hotaro, and again we can build this dynamic, this rivalry with our main villain characters, but they don't really feel weak because they get defeated at the end of the day because it's just them assimilating a different monster form. As for the main rider himself, Hotaro is whatever. I've seen a lot of people say he's annoying. I personally didn't think he was annoying at all. I don't have any problems with him. He's charming enough. He just feels kind of there. So like Hopper and Steamliner picked him to be a Kamen Rider, and I think that's fun, but it also feels kind of rushed because all he does is save Rin from Steamliner, and I guess that was enough. They were like, okay, this is our Kamen Rider. I'm not saying they should have gone around and found other people. I just think they could have written something a bit more like, wow, Hotaro deserves to be a Kamen Rider from the perspective of the Kemis. But like in that same situation, Rin feels way more qualified because she literally turns into an alchemist trying to stop Steamliner and save all the people that he is kind of putting in danger. Steamliner, bro, what are you doing just driving through this crowded little street area? The other thing that feels rushed is when Fuga gives Hotaro the belt. There's just a weird, crazy tonal whiplash where it's like a calm scene. It's like, here's the belt. You are Kamen Rider. Bam, the villains show up and then completely disintegrate Fuga. Obviously, he's coming back. I don't think anyone thinks he's actually dead, but it's just kind of a weird situation. It's supposed to be this moment of reverence. He's got the belt to become Kamen Rider, but we have to undercut it immediately with the villains appearing. The result then is that Hotaro becomes a Kamen Rider just because he was told to be one. My problem is there was no aha moment for Hotaro, like, hey, I can be a Kamen Rider to save the Kemis. Hey, I'm trying to find this thing, like he says he's trying to find his gotcha. They could have had a moment where he decides his gotcha is becoming Gotchard and saving people. Like, I know it's kind of basic. I want my Kamen Rider to realize, hey, he can save people. It just feels empty. He's given the belt. A guy tells him, you're Kamen Rider now. And then he's like, oh, well, a guy told me I have to be Kamen Rider, so now I'm going to be Kamen Rider. I would have liked if, yes, Fuga tells him to be Kamen Rider, and then he realizes, like, wait, if I'm Kamen Rider, I can do this, and then he becomes Gotchard. In comparison, Rin is actually the standout character to me in this episode. First of all, the alchemy ring is really cool. Like, she switches the finger it's on, and it changes her clothes to the cool Alchemy Academy outfit. That's awesome. I would like one. Secondly, I thought it was great she gets to participate in the action without being a Kamen Rider. The alchemy angle is a bit weird because this just feels like straight up magic to to me rather than like anything specific to alchemy. But I guess when you have a character wearing a ring and they're doing magical things in Kamen Rider, if you just say it's magic, that happened 10 years ago. So I guess they're trying to differentiate themselves. And then the fact she got to assist Gotchard in his debut fight is fantastic. Like straight up, they just have a moment where she stops the things from falling on him and he looks at her grateful, or you could tell he's grateful. You know, you can't see his facial expression. I like that she's actually important in that fight. Lastly, I also think her character's way more interesting than Hotaro right now. She has a line of dialogue about having a duty as an alchemist to stop the Kemi, which almost makes her sound like a main writer, but you know, she's not. Although one knock against Rin is that like she did Hotaro really dirty. Like she brought up the thing about the Renaissance and then he catches a stray after that. Like you didn't have to do him like that. That was kind of mean. She's kind of mean. In regards to Rin, I think it's interesting they didn't bring up the Alchemy Academy in this episode at all. It's certainly teased very obviously, but Hotaro doesn't end up in the academy at all, whether on accident or on purpose. But I do think that's a bit more intriguing that he just happens upon the Kemis and now he just has to be forced into the academy. And I would have expected them to involve some of that at the end of the episode or even give us a tease of the secondary writer character, but no, I guess not. However, like Geets, I'm going to be uploading shorts that are reviewing Gotchard every week, so if you want to hear my thoughts on those aspects of the show once they're actually introduced, make sure you subscribe to this channel. The Kemis are adorable. I love that they're just Pokemon. Hopper 1 is so cute. I love that he's a physical prop. I want one. He is the best. I cannot wait to see more of him and his relationship with Hotaro. He's probably going to be like the boost of this season and he ends up being the final form or part of the final form, and I can't wait for that. I want my boy to be very important. Or girl. I know the voice actress is a woman. Shout out to Sechan. Do the Kemis have genders? I don't know. Seeing all the Kemis wreaking havoc on the town is pretty fun. I do like they use some of the card art and some of them have actual models. I also like the Gold Dash tees where they just have the physical bike prop just driving along, and since that'll be the rider machine, I wonder if Hotaro will have to form a relationship with them at all. It is weird the episode doesn't address like what happens to all of them though. Like, are we supposed to assume that Minato captured all of them in cards? Because we saw there are a lot of those things, so I guess the implication is some of them just decided to stop breaking things. Also, I brought up Minato. I don't really have much to say about him, except he has a line of dialogue that it's been 120 years since the last time a human combined with two Kemis. That implies there's been a previous Gotchard. This belt is 120 years old. It already was a question of how Fuga got the belt, got the Kemis, but this makes it just a bit more interesting if it's existed for 120 years. Maybe it was made by the sisters. It was originally their belt and he stole it from them, and that's why they're chasing after him and stuff. The cards do seem like a bit of a disappointment story-wise for me. Obviously, you know, maybe this changes, but the toys are being sold as Ride Kemi training cards, but there's only one of each Kemi, which also happen to be these supernatural creatures, not like normal parts of the world. So they combined the card and creature aspects of Pokemon, but they sort of left out the trading card aspect that makes Pokemon cards fun, or the everyday nature aspect of Pokemon in the anime that makes that a bit successful. Unfortunately, this did not stop me from buying a lot of them already, and I am going to be unboxing them early on my Patreon. So if you'd like to see that early, keep in mind my Patreon is only $2. You also get a lot of other perks like your name on the screen right now and early access to all of my videos. I do not like this thing. I think it is embarrassing that the first Kamen Rider henshin of this season is into a CG abomination. I don't hate that it exists. I actually think it's a fun and clever use of the goggle gimmick. What if he puts on the goggles? He turns into a Revice remix. Just don't make it the first time Hotaro henshins into Gotchard. Definitely a nitpick, but it really bothers me, so I'm bringing it up. Anyways, the actual first fight is fine. I really like the little sequence in the all black room with all the steam everywhere. The actual henshin itself is pretty fun. The big alchemist bottle, whatever you want to call it. I like stock footage henshins in Kamen Rider, so seeing it here just put a smile on my face. The rider kick is also pretty fun. I don't know why Hotaro does that weird pose, but this is the instance where I do like the wild form. Seeing the armor on the wild form break apart and reconfigure back into normal Gotchard so he can deliver the finishing blow is pretty awesome. As is the actual Gotchard form. It's not my favorite thing ever, but I do like it. I like the chrome a lot. I like the incorporation of the steam and hopper elements. The fire on the chest is pretty cool. They have some shots where it's like actually like a CG effect and it's glowing and burning and stuff. I hope they do that every so often with all of the henshins. Honestly, that is how I feel about this whole episode. I think it's good and I enjoyed myself while watching it. It's just the only thing about this world and story that has me excited for the next episode is Hopper 1 is cute and I want to see more of him. But as mentioned, I will be keeping up with the series and hopefully get some other elements to pull me in and get me more interested. If you also think Hopper 1 is cute, make sure you let me know in the comments section. If you think Steamliner is cuter than Hopper 1, you're crazy, but I do want you to tell me that. And also make sure you subscribe to the channel for my future Kamen Rider videos, and I hope to see you next time.